What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones,
Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
and all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at mmercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Typing When Tipsy. My name is Nicole Mancha, and I am joined again by Ramon Monk. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me again. I mean, this is becoming a nice little wonderful tradition here. I'm liking it.
I am, too. I think it's nice to have you on. You know, we get you every other week or so, and, I mean, at least you're tolerable then.
This is true, and it allows everybody to, you know, kind of wind down after having to hear my voice for, you know, for a full whatever time we went. I think, an hour and a half last time?
Something like that, yeah. So why don't you introduce what we're going to talk about this week?
Well, this week is going to be kind of interesting, you know. We all realize, you know, I'm divorced from our first show. And, you know, I've got to throw myself back out there in this wonderful world that we call dating. Something I haven't done in 17 years. And to be honest with you, I probably never actually did dating. So, without further ado, I think we should discuss these wonderful new ways of dating, these dating apps.
Oh my gosh, but you can't even just limit it to dating apps, can you? Because, I mean, really, social media is kind of its own dating platform.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so many times that, you know, you see somebody who knows somebody that may know somebody, and you're like, hey, hook me up with her. You know, it's the whole new virtual bar kind of thing going on.
So have you tried to kind of like look at any of those things, or are you just like completely overwhelmed because you had, I mean, I guess I grew up with Facebook and MySpace and all of that. That was like very much in my realm of, you know, probably like 14 to 22. Like that's when it all got really huge and really big. And I think that was kind of the start of that. Who's this person? And did they like my photo? And all of that kind of bullshit and drama. But you didn't really have that.
No, I didn't have to worry about doing any of that when it came to the world of dating or meeting people. You know, it was the old school way of getting up, walking outside, seeing somebody, shaking their hand and saying hello. You know, the luxury I have when it comes to social media is my business I was in for, you know, my last 11 years on active duty in the Marine Corps, which was recruiting. because that, as you said, when I went on recruiting duty, you were between that age of 14 and 22, and voila, that's where your age group was, the guys and gals that we were looking to enlist. So the luxury I had there was that I was able to get to know social media fairly well because of that, even though I was in my 30s at the time.
Right. So with all of those things, I mean, like, you obviously saw it and you kind of knew about it, but I'm sure, like, you weren't there on the rise of, like, Tinder and Bumble and all of that kind of stuff. Even, like, I mean, I think eHarmony and whatnot came out a little bit earlier, but it was still pretty fresh.
eHarmony, Match, the other dating, Hot or Not, I think was about one of the newer ones.
I don't even know that one.
You don't know that one?
No.
So just real quick lesson for you is, I think back in the early 2000 to be exact, 2001 time frame, you'd post your picture.
I was 11, so no, I had no idea what that was.
That was our form of liking, so you would post a picture of yourself on this website and people would look at it and they would say yes or no, if you were hot or not. And you were able to see the stats on how many people thought that picture or you were hot. Okay. I mean, yeah, so it was that was the start of it, I would have to say, when it comes to these Bumbles and the Tinders and the Matches and everything else that are out there. Yeah, I mean, so do you think that coming into dating this time around was just a little bit more overwhelming? Because you can be around it and kind of see what's going on, but that doesn't mean that you're necessarily prepared for it. Oh, very overwhelming. I'm telling you, it is an ugly world out there. I was talking to my sons about this, and as you know, they're teenage boys, and I was like, they asked me when we were, going through the process, hey, Dad, are you going to do all these dating websites? And I was like, oh, heck no, I'm not even touching them, okay? I am not a 20-year-old, 22-year-old kid who doesn't know how to get out there and communicate with people. I know how to shake somebody's hand and talk to them. And they were the ones to tell me to say, Dad, that's creepy. I was like, what? Walking up to a young lady or a woman in a restaurant, a bar, a park or something and saying hello and introducing yourself is creepy these days? And they were like, yeah, people just don't do it. And I was just like, that's where the overwhelming feelings came from, because it was like, wait, that's the only way I know how to talk to people. Right. Actually talking to people.
Well, and I think a lot of it stems from there's a lot of things going on with Me Too movement, which was absolutely necessary, but it's not guys necessarily like you that we worry about, right? Because, like, there are times when you're at a bar as a female and someone comes up to you and you're like, thanks, I'm just not interested, or I don't want to drink, and then they don't stop. And that's why it's those ones are the people that we're concerned about, because at the end of the day, it's like, you can, me of all people, right? Like, I am woman, hear me roar kind of thing. But at the end of the day, I know that if it's me and someone else, I'm not winning that fight. Like, me and a male, I'm not winning that fight. And so I think it's that idea of we have to almost go into overdrive to protect ourselves. Because we don't, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not that it's bad that people come up to you, but I do think there's this idea of technology which kind of blocks us from each other already. So definitely. We don't communicate correctly. But then on top of it, it's like the only people that are doing things like that, or the majority that that women come into contact with, are people that just won't leave you alone. And you're like, okay, I said no, thank you.
But back when I was coming through the world, that's what we call persistence, and there's a way to be persistent in talking to a young lady or a young man, in a restaurant, in a bar, or in a face-to-face setting, where it can be done respectfully, where it can be done where you're not creepy, you know what I mean? Right. And the ones that have taken it to that level is, why a lot of that stuff is there. The ones that will follow you to your car when you're trying to leave or something like that, or won't leave you alone, and keep trying to buy you a drink or something. So again, that population is so small, though, And it's crazy in how, we shift our way of thinking, our population, and the way we do things based off such a small percentage. You know what I'm saying?
And unfortunately, this is one of those conversations that I have with like Mike and Alex a lot when we talk about things, is that you guys think it's very small. It's not. I can't even count on my fingers and toes how many times I've been approached and persisted and then been talked to in a way that is never appropriate in any circumstance. So
did you ever feel that your life was in danger during those times when they were talking to you inappropriately?
I don't know if it's necessarily that my life was in danger, but I definitely felt threatened.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, yeah, that's definitely a good feeling. I can see that.
And it's an idea of like, it's hard because I grew up with all males around me, right? Like I grew up in a complete male-dominated family. We had very few women around besides like the in-laws. And then, Chris was around, but Chris didn't come around as much until we got a little bit older. So
yes,
I was always around. I had 3 brothers. I had 2 cousins who basically lived with us. And like, you know what I mean? Like it was just all male. So I feel very confident majority of the time. That doesn't mean that I haven't had to deal with things like that. And I've been groped on the train, I've been groped in a bar, I've been groped on the dance floor, and none of those times that I ask for it, none of those times that I say it's okay for you to do that. They just felt that it was appropriate to do that. And I guarantee you every other woman has hundreds of stories like these. And that's the problem.
You're
is
correct.
It's that the majority may be great, but unfortunately the minority are the ones that are really just fucking it up for everybody because it happens all the time.
Yes. Yeah, no, yeah, it does. And when I say the small percentage of society or the smallest percentage or smallest sample size is shifting, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen to one person and it only happens one time. I can really see how it could be a continuous thing that happens for young women to where men are overly aggressive, and they're not being persistent. They're just being overly aggressive and doing very immature things like that. When I talk about the small percentage of how we have to shift our society, it still is a small percentage of the male population that is doing that, you know. For the vast majority, I'm trying to be an optimist, and I would love to say that, that men aren't all that bad. We're not bad. Being a man is not a bad thing. Being a guy who wants to protect or be kind or respectful or hold the door for a young lady isn't bad.
No.
Okay? Yes, you do have those overly aggressive, immature, maybe some chemical imbalance in their mind who think that they are special for some right reason or they just never had the proper home training. I don't know that are out there doing that. So that's what I'm speaking about when I talk about that small population, and one death, in my opinion, is too many, over something that could probably been prevented. So I can understand why we've made this shift because a lot of these situations have,
they get out of
resulted
hand.
into death.
Yeah.
They get out of hand and result in, I like that better. Take it out of hand. So yeah, we have to shift for it, but it puts guys like me, like I said, I'm not a bad looking dude. I can communicate with the best of them. For 40, I think I look 30. And I've been told that.
I wouldn't quite go that far, but sure.
I've been told that, so I'm not going to sit here and call him a liar because it makes me feel good. But it puts guys like me in a situation where, I don't want to meet a woman on Tinder or on Bumble. I don't.
Right.
I would rather much meet you outside walking and you feel comfortable enough to shake my hand, us finish the walk together and have a conversation and see if I can get your phone number at the end of the walk.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that the benefit to things like the internet is there are times obviously, like we've talked about, because we lived in 2 very different places. And
yes.
He was in the suburbs, I was in the city, and it was just kind of like a stroke of luck that we happened to be within a certain, because you can set your radius on some of the reason we met. So I can see the benefits to them because I think that it can introduce you to people that you wouldn't necessarily run in the same circles with, and that's not always a bad thing.
No, it definitely isn't. It opens up, an opportunity to learn somebody else, to find something else, to see something different. So, I mean, it is a great thing. And it also, one thing I've noticed, because I'll just put it out there. I am on Tinder and I am on Bumble. I have put 2 profiles out there because it's like, okay, this isn't working. I don't drink. I don't go to bars. I don't sit by myself at places. I like to be with people, and everybody I know, they all live so far. So let me attempt this and try this out, So one thing it does allow, which I do appreciate, is kind of the window shopping.
Yes.
Okay, this person says they like these things. They want to do these things. They are happy for these things. They got kids or don't have kids. They love dogs over people. So it allows me the opportunity to kind of be a little selective. So that's where some of the good stuff comes into play.
Well, and also you get to see what they look like beforehand. Like, let's not, I mean, we can all pretend that we're all wonderful human beings, right? But at the end of the day, we're also going based off aesthetics, and we want to be attracted to that person, which helps. And it's not like you're not meeting someone at a bar. And sometimes the pictures can be slightly deceiving.
It sounds like you got some experience there.
Yeah. But you never know. I mean, there are things. I also have had friends that are on, and I know what they look like in person, and so I have seen their photos come up, and I'm like, you don't look like this. I know you, so I know you don't look like this.
No, you're absolutely right. But I don't think that's a change, though. I mean, just like you said, the aesthetics, people are attracted to what they see, So it's no different than a bar or somebody walking by you on the street corner, If they look beautiful, if they look handsome, you're going to look at them and you're going to want to communicate with them, So the picture piece, to me, is not much of a shift from actual meeting people.
That makes sense.
But as you said, definitely you got to be very careful with them because of, the wonderful filters that all these apps now have and stuff like that.
The filters, and also just catfishing, it's definitely become more common, and it's always most of the times it's a sad situation where someone just kind of wants to step outside of their own skin. But there are times where it's vindictive, so it's an interesting world, and it's an interesting dating world that we're all in. And it wasn't something necessarily I had to deal with very much, but I think recently it's gotten worse.
Oh, it definitely has. And I mean, don't get me, I'm not going to sit here and say women don't catfish or men don't catfish, okay? I'm not even saying that here. From what I've seen, from what I've noticed, and from whoever I've spoken to, women have it so much easier on these dating apps.
Oh, yeah,
than what a man
100%.
does. And that is just where it's crazy to me. It's like, wow, like I said earlier, I don't look at myself as an unattractive guy. I think I got some pretty good pictures on the profile.
Oh, Christ.
No, you
I'm
cannot
gonna have
see them,
to.
so
No, I'm
do not
totally
ask.
going through this profile. This is happening. I have to.
This is, not happening. But it's just like, how am I, one, I'm like I said, I'm not a bad looking guy. I'm very well educated. I'm an amazing father. I'm an avid gym goer. I take care of myself. I do all the things that you would think people would be drawn to. But you know how many likes or swipe rights or whatever I get on these apps a day?
Yeah.
If you were to take an average of an entire month, it's less than 1 a day. So you're talking about 0.2, 0.3. And I'm like, and it's almost like, man, I've been rejected. How many people are on this app? Many times.
But if it makes you feel better, a lot of times, I mean, and not all women, obviously, but women will go based off of what you've written. So they can appreciate that you're honest. That doesn't mean they want to deal with it.
Well, then now let's add the other element to that, okay? You're right. The honesty's there. Great. They love it and they appreciate it. But when they do like the photo or when they do swipe right or whatever it is they do these days, okay? I mean, I know what they do. All right, these youngins out there doing what they do, and then you message them. It's like, okay, you swiped right. You think this person's interested. Hey, how are you doing? And now, mind you, I'm not, that's very general and very generic in kind of a way to approach it. I often just look at the pictures, look at what they may have to say and try to compliment, build off that, just all the things I've learned in my past,
Right.
and yet they don't respond back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, to be honest, I think a lot of it is what you're saying. It's window shopping. You don't actually want to buy it. You just want to know somebody else thinks you're pretty too.
Well, that's kind of, that takes away the entire purpose of what the doggone app is.
Kind of, but not really.
If you want to feel good about yourself, just put on there, hey, if I swipe right on you, I'm not going to respond. I just want to make sure you know I like you, and that's it. And I'm going to move on.
Oh,
okay,
hi.
good.
I'm sorry.
I'm not even going to waste my time.
I'm sorry. This is 2019. Can the old people please take a moment? No, they're not going to tell you that. What the fuck do you think this is?
I would think that if they want honesty, that they would provide honesty back.
Oh, you're sweet.
I'm the sweet old guy now sitting on the rocking chair outside on my porch.
Yeah. I can't with you. I'm sorry. No, I mean, it's fine. There's a lot of dating apps are just, they're just in general like a trip and a half. I don't remember which one I did. One of my friends in college had me do one, and I can't for the life of me remember which one it was. Oh, it was OkCupid. Because she was joining.
Oh, my God.
And she was like, don't let me join by myself. And we used to work at the desk, so we literally had 4 hours to kill. So we would just, make these profiles. And
see, you were the start of the problem.
I, made a profile. No, here's the thing, though. You have to remember, you're a nice guy. I remember the first guy who messaged me on one of them asked me to send him a picture of my feet. And I was like, that was the first message. No, hi, no, how are you? It was I think you look like you have really nice feet. And I'm like, well, you would be wrong. So, no.
That is hilarious. And don't they have fetish apps like that for people like that?
They do, but they didn't back then. This was if they did, they may have not been as common. Because this was back, think about it, probably 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it was kind of a little while ago.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't as mainstream.
And even your, I won't even say your generation, but even the younger generation were hesitant about those at the time as well, and they were used as a joke. But then you got individuals like me who... You're talking 2010, you're talking 9-10 years ago. I was, 31. So now I'm at that point in life where these things are very valid, but your generation didn't take it as serious. So therefore it became what it is now.
Right.
The catfishes, the weird, crazy things, people playing jokes, the things that my sons tell me, that's all we use these for, is this or that. And I'm like, really?
See, and
what's the point of it then?
I think it depends. I think for a while, Tinder and Bumble actually were being used more so as dating apps, but then people stopped using them because it became because it was free, all of the creeps were using it. So
it's free?
Yeah.
It's free. I understand that it's free, but you still have to pay to look at whoever you matched with.
No, it was free when we used to do it.
No, it's nowadays it's you got to pay this subscription fee monthly.
Oh no, I didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah. No, now I don't know how. So obviously, these apps, they're built for each individual sex. Okay.
Right.
And so because men are not going to be on there, I'm trying to figure out how to word this to make it where I can understand it, because it just seems like that it's women will be able to get to do things for free, so they can drive more women traffic to it, because they know if the women are there, men are going to follow, and that's who's going to pay for the services, Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like I said, I really don't know because I'm not a man, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. But it's the same idea of when you go to a bar, right? Any woman can walk into a bar, and I don't care how she looks. If she really wants to, she's going to get laid. That's just how it is.
Oh, no, that's exactly how it is. And that's what I mean by all of these apps where women have it so much easier, Come on. Oh,
I think
freaking
I think it's
Medusa could walk outside and find a guy. You know, all he has to do is turn his head right, and he'll be okay. And as long as he's getting what he wants to get,
yeah,
life's great and grand for him.
And
you know?
I think it's fair to say that women have it easier in the sense of like we have more pickings. I wouldn't say it's easier on a lot of other things because just in general, meeting up with people can be very like overwhelming and also very scary.
Intimidating, yeah, definitely. Just
you
as
know?
everything that you pointed out earlier, you know, the whole groping and men being overly aggressive and stuff like that, that all can be very, very scary. And that's probably part of why I don't get a lot of responses to any messages that I put out there, you know, because it's like, he's great looking. What's wrong with him?
Yeah, I mean,
why is that good looking, great father, highly educated, not with somebody? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's like having kids is not always a benefit. I don't know how else to say that.
No, I've sat there and thought about it as well, and I'm like, I'm a father of four. Not only am I a father of four, it's not like they're halfway out the house. You know, I've got little ones. You know, so these are things that they're still very sufficient, or not sufficient, but reliant on dad and mom, you know, to do things for them, as where the teenage boys are pretty free. As if all my kids were the same age around that teenage years, I'm sure it would be so much easier, so much better for them because they're halfway out of the house, one less thing to worry about. So
yeah, I also think it's the age group that you're in too, because women within like I would say like 35 to 40, if they're not married, I think many of them still do want to have children because it's not unheard of anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, oh yeah.
So I think that's another thing. It's like, well, if this person has 4 kids, do they want any more kids? Like, that's you can be a great father and have all these things to offer. You're a great dad. You are a great partner. You're a great this. You're a great that. But if you don't want something that I really want, then where do we go from here?
You're absolutely right. I mean, there's so many of those things that are out there, but the biggest question still stands. Then why swipe right?
Right.
Was it just the whole wanting to be pursued thing? You know, are you the girl walking around to school, you know, with the tight dress on, just so guys will look at you, but yet you won't give none of them a time of day? You just want that, you know. Is that the new way of doing it? You know, I'm going to swipe right on every one of these guys and have them all pursue me, knowing I'm not going to respond to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see your point to a point, right? Because I think there's always two sides to the coin, where it's like, you know, she may be the girl who wants to wear the tight dress and wants to look good. That doesn't mean she's doing it for you. That means she's doing it because she wants to. Like, I don't.
No, you're absolutely. Yeah.
Me personally, I don't dress for anybody. I dress for myself, and I don't really give a shit what you think about it. But like, I think maybe it's the pursuit. Maybe it's that, you know, just because they were interested doesn't mean that they're interested anymore. What if somebody else liked them as well? Maybe it's just that they were more interested in the other match because they fit more of what they liked. Maybe they just based it off of how you looked and didn't read anything in your bio. And now that they're like, I don't know if I want to deal with that.
You know, good point. Points taken. You know, but let me ask you, would you have done that? If you saw somebody, would you swipe and not respond? And if you didn't respond, would you still stay there as a match? Because you do have that option to now unmatch that individual.
Do you want my honest answer?
Yeah, I want your honest answer. Because
to what happened to what I did before, Mike?
Okay, well, from the sounds of it, you did it. Well, then why do it? Why just?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I think sometimes you think you're interested, or sometimes you're like, oh, this person's kind of cute. Like, why not? Let's see what happens. There were times I didn't answer. There were times that I just didn't unmatch, but I also deleted my profile. And then I couldn't see it anymore, so who knows? I don't know how that works after you delete it, if they just stay in there or not. I have no idea. But I think it just depends. I also, you know, I'm trying to remember. Mike was just very sweet when he messaged me, so I liked him a lot immediately. Just because he was very interested in, like, what I was doing and, like, how I was and, you know, just, like, nothing too invasive. But
so Mike was a charmer.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you've met him. That's his personality. Like, he's extremely personable.
I think, he's definitely personable, but when it comes to the charming aspect, he might have had somebody else answering those questions.
No. But I also think he's not trying to charm you.
No, I would hope not, because if he does, we've got a really big problem. And I'm not talking about in the sense of,
No,
like,
we're
going to fight, I'm talking more in the sense of, like, Nicole, you got to figure out what he actually wants, because you may not be it. And two, thanks for the compliment, but you better swing that the other way, brother.
Yeah, no, I think he was, you know what it is that I think when I had been messaged before, and even on dating apps when I was much younger and I was like 21 or 22, I think it was always, there was very few people to actually take an interest in, like, how's your day? Like, how is it going? And I was like, oh, it's going great. Thank you. It's not like, well, how do you look? Well, how tall are you really? Well, what color is your hair? Is it really that color? Like, and yes, men do ask those questions, and they will ask you to send pictures to prove that you look like your profile picture. There's
a reason for it. I mean, come on. You said it earlier, the catfish, or the way the filters change things, what was it? There was some Chinese guy who sued his ex-wife because they had children, and the children came out looking like neither one of them. And they weren't very attractive children. And he was like, and they were his kids. So he didn't know what was going on. Going to find out, his ex-wife had a bunch of plastic surgery and never told him about it. So he didn't marry the woman that he thought he had married. He married a person who, changed her face and her figure and everything else, And now, is that a problem? No. If you're trying to self-improve, that's fine and that's great. But when you're talking about photos on a dating app,
yeah,
you realize somebody's going. I mean, men do it as well. I know it's there. I'm not just pointing at women, but you do realize the idea of this is meeting somebody. And when they meet you, they're going to realize exactly who you are. So why not just get past that right away instead of, trying to wait and, play the game all the way up and hope that he fell in love with your personality over a text message.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I understand both sides, right? But it's also like, I'm sorry, you don't get to ask me for a picture when I've literally not said 3 words to you. We're not there yet. Well, I don't even know if I like who the fuck you are.
Well, there's some definite, what's the word that, when there's
decorum?
A process. Okay. Maybe there you go. There's a process there that will tell you that, you know what, that shouldn't be your first question. Let's start with the hellos and how are you doing and how's your day going? And as it goes, hey, would you like to exchange phone numbers so therefore we can exchange photos so we can make sure we're talking to who we're talking to?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think I always think that there's a time and a place, and I think that you should have a conversation a few times before you start asking for things like that. And I think a better way to ask is, hey, do you want to Skype? Do you want to FaceTime? I think that's a better way to do it, because then you don't sound like an asshole. Like, put this one down in your bank. Write this down. These are notes. Like, if you don't want to seem like a total superficial jerk, that's what you do.
Well, I have asked and said, listen, you know what? Let's exchange phone numbers. Okay, great. Now we're texting. That's awesome. We're taking the steps. We'll communicate, for a day or two. Hey, would you like to exchange photos just to make sure, we know who we're talking to? I'll send mine first. You know what I mean? So it's like that way they understand that, hey, listen, I'm not trying to, because that's the biggest problem, I think. I think this is the biggest issue with it, is men want nudes. Send me a nude. Show me your breasts. Show me this. Show me that. You know what I mean? Or the first thing they want to do is send a picture of their junk. And
Why?
It's like,
I don't understand. Please explain this to me. I'll never understand why they think it's a good idea. All I want to do is tell them that they can just go chop it off for all I care, because it literally does nothing. No woman is like, I am super turned on by your flaccid penis. Thank you.
Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at mmercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the operator to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing,
How are
buddy?
you, sir? I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
No one, not
I
any
wish
woman
I could
know.
answer that.
I don't.
Maybe men just feel. I mean, obviously, it's men will talk about it in a locker room, in a bar. Hey, I'm hung like a horse. You know, they'll do things like that. So maybe they believe that it's the whole peacock thing. You know, the bigger my feathers, the brighter my feathers are, the more attractive I'm going to be. So the bigger and the better my junk looks, you know, women are going to be more attractive. So let me show you.
It's never big.
Make you want me.
But it's never big.
What's that?
It's never big. I'm like, you can peacock your way right on out of this, my friend. Like, I don't know what you're trying to do here. Do you know how many of my friends get these and they're like, look at this? And I'm like, why? Why do you want me to look at some random? They're like, because what was he thinking? I don't know. Ask him.
I don't know either.
Like, I
no
don't
clue
have a
either.
penis. I could not explain to you this bizarre phenomenon about
Well, come
why
on,
they
man.
feel the need to send this.
Well, that men have been infatuated with their penises since they were born. Okay.
Is that what
So,
it
I
is?
mean,
Do you
it's
think
just
that they
something
feel like because they've been fascinated for so long, everybody else is? Like, we don't
It's a
care.
possibility.
It's not cute. Like, at least ours
Hence
is
why we
wrapped
make
up
you
in a
cover it
tiny
up.
package. Like, yours is just hanging out there for all of God's creation to see.
And that's why we stand there, you know, with our hands on our hips afterwards and like, you know, I am God.
I hate everything. I hate everything. It's just so disgusting.
I have no clue on why. I really wish I could answer that question, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been women to ask, and I'm like, no, not happening. Okay, and
Yeah, that shit'll end up on the internet.
What's that?
That shit will end up on the internet.
Oh, that'll end up somewhere, and I no, don't need that headache, don't need that stress, don't even want to worry about it and stuff. So, but it's like, okay, so there are some who want it,
If they
you know, for
ask,
whatever reason they want
absolutely.
What's that?
But they should ask. As this is my PSA to any man who decides they want to listen to me blather on for an hour. Do
Well,
not send a dick pic unless it is asked for. Don't do it.
Well,
PSA.
and here's the other funny thing about this dating app. The woman will be like, "No, if you have any gym selfies in your profile, I'm swiping left." But you go through their profile and they're wearing like this tight little short dress, or they're sitting in the gym, taking photos of themselves in a mirror. And it's like, what? Are you the only one allowed to be the best shape, best looking person in the pictures or something? Are you the only one allowed to be superficial in all of this? And I'm not. You know
right.
what I mean?
And like, I don't agree with that. I'll be honest, because I do see that and I don't agree with it. Like, I don't like to see your gym picture because it's gross. You're sweaty and nasty. And why do I need to see that? Like, that's not you at your best. You at your best is before the gym workout has begun, my friend, not after. But
you're right. But why is a woman? I mean, I get the woman is against it for that very specific reason that you just mentioned. Agree. Okay, but why is she, the same woman who said, I don't want that, it doesn't look right, have pictures similar?
You want to know why?
More provocative.
Do you really want to know why?
Because the guy gets attracted to it and they swipe right.
Yeah, because women will look past your looks. Because you've seen beautiful women with ugly mother effers, okay? Because they can get past it. And I have known men who do not have that much money, and because everyone's like, oh, they have money. No, I've known guys who don't have that much money and have beautiful women because the women like them for their personality or who they are or how they treat them, okay? You rarely will see that flip side. Rarely, because men are physical creatures. Men need to feel like they're hunting. Men need to feel like they are looking for their prey. It's just a human instinct. It's an instinct. It's an animal instinct. It's a primal instinct.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, and I mean, I could see that making sense. But you know what? Not to say that I'm not looking for an unattractive, or I'm not looking for an attractive woman. I am. I don't want an ugly woman, okay? And obviously that is all, relative to the individual.
Right.
What they believe is ugly, what they believe is not. I get that. But I'm also, I don't care 110% about your looks. If you have a mole on the side of your cheek, but everything else about you is great. You got great eyes, good smile, and you do dress nice, and you've got a, I get it, we're 40, so, our bodies aren't going to be built like a 20-year-old. But you got a halfway decent body and you can hold a conversation. I can look past that one blemish. You know what I mean? So men can do that. We don't need, it's not all about just looks. You got to look like freaking Cindy Crawford, or Charlize Theron or something like that. We're not so superficial. We can look past certain things.
I think so, but I don't think that happens right away.
Oh no, it takes time. I've learned that.
And I don't think, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think women are the same way. I think right away, if someone says something to woo us, we're willing to give them at least the time of day. Men just aren't like that. They're created to be more into aesthetics because it's that idea of like, you want to look good with whoever is looking good with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. I understand
and
what you mean.
And I think women just feel like if I look good, I look good regardless. Like, this man is not adding to it or taking away from it. In fact, if he's not as good looking, it still makes me look even better. Men don't think like that. There you go.
And I think, no, they don't. And I think you said it there. Like I said, you're the only one allowed to be good looking in this relationship, or you're the only one allowed to post things like that because you need somebody to say you look great or something along that lines, So it's like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're going to dress like that, and not to say I don't have gym selfies on my profile, okay? I do not, all right? But it's just funny to see that. And then you start going into it and you start looking at all these different profiles. And then once you start getting the likes, okay, once you start seeing somebody swipe right for you, you know who it is? That 400-pound woman who has a higher clean fade than I do, or it's Bunny, who is actually Mike, but he thinks he's a she, and he's running around shirtless, saying how if you call me him, I'm going to beat you up, but I'm going to swipe right on you, and I'm in the wrong place because I know you're a guy and I know you're here for a woman. Or my favorite, even though those two are pretty exciting and laughable in themselves, my favorite is follow me on my Instagram and then go to my cam show and then verify yourself here to make sure so we can go have fun on the side. And I'm like, Don't they have other websites for this stuff?
Yeah, they're going to go everywhere. I mean, here's the thing, though. It's like, you can't blame the woman who's maybe overweight or whatever because she thinks you're attractive, so she's just going to swipe. She's not necessarily expecting you to swipe back. It's just that everyone's on there to swipe for somebody, and the same thing happens. You're going to swipe on somebody, and that person's like, I can't believe this guy even thinks he's in my league. It's just the reality of it.
Hey, I'm in everybody's league. Okay?
You're not, though. But you're not. Like, let's be real. Like,
don't take some of my confidence away.
I'm sorry, somebody has to. But it's just like that idea of like, just because you're not in that league or whatever, or someone doesn't feel that you're in that league, doesn't mean they shouldn't be able to swipe. You don't have to have a conversation with them. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
That's part of it. The other thing is for people who are transgender, they do feel like they're in the right place. Now, as long as they put on my biggest thing is as long as you put on your bio, like, this is my situation, and long as you're honest with it, because not everybody has a problem with it. Not everybody has an issue with it. So I think if you're honest about the situation that you're in, then there's nothing wrong with it. Now, do I see a problem with there being dishonesty? Yes. Just in general. To me, that's right up there with lying about if you have kids or not. Because that's something that you're not changing about yourself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it absolutely makes sense. And just like you said, it is in their bio, and they do identify that. Well, don't swipe right on a guy if they don't identify that, hey, I'm open to everything. And trust me, I've read through enough profiles to say that I am 25 of the 500 different genders, so they've already identified all that to you.
Yeah,
but
I guess,
but
on there, you don't have to swipe right back, and you don't have to have a conversation, so what's the big deal? I guess that's my thing.
Well,
what's the big deal? Do you know how many guys have swiped on me that I'm like, you're obviously a piece of shit, and I can't stand you, but I'm just not going to respond to you.
Well, let's go back to my original statement about this. It's like, why swipe right on somebody if you're not going to respond? And then, just the sheer number or lack of numbers that I've gotten on it. So when you see somebody new likes you, you're like, oh, I'm excited. Let's see who it is. Damn it.
Yeah, but it's like, but that's
Mike,
how it's going to be. But that's just part for the course. I mean, really, I don't know why you think you're the only person that's gone through this in life, but like,
I'm not.
But like, that's how. I mean, come on.
I'm trying to save the others.
Well, that's kind of how it sounds. It's like, well, that's not what I was expecting. Well, you're not what everyone else is expecting either, because guess what? The girl who just thought you were cute and swiped on you and then is like, wow, this dude has 4 fucking kids and a divorce. Yeah, I'm good though. Like, why he even thought we were on the same level is beyond me at 29. Living my life.
Yeah, correct. You're correct. And I'm not, I know others are going through this. Okay. I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm special. It's affecting me now directly just because, I'm in that world.
Because your precious little ego was hurt when it's not everybody who you want. Yes, you're being a little fragile, and that's okay. You're being a little fragile. My heart has been
broken. No, not whatsoever. It just makes zero sense.
Not really, because people are going to think you're attractive no matter what. And now they have a platform, and because you've joined the platform, you have agreed to allow someone to think that you're attractive and to let you know that. When you join that platform, there are probably women that you like that don't feel the same way, but they have joined a platform where men are allowed to do that. You have joined a platform where anybody that identifies on that side is allowed to do that. So it's like, if you don't like it, then get off of it. But if it's not the first time it's happened and you stay on it, then whose fault is it?
No, there you go. I mean, I get it. It falls on my shoulders ultimately because, hey, I'm still there. Again, it goes to the point that, you know what? Why waste the time? Why take the calorie or burn the sweat or swipe on something that isn't there because it's not identified up front in that bio? Again, I'm not mad at you. Swipe right all you want, My excitement just went out the window. Yay, okay, whippy-doo-dah-day. But it's identified. People were putting it in there, and if you don't see it, just go the other way.
But
and trust me, these things are built. But the algorithms are created to where if you are, and we'll just stick with the gender thing, okay? We'll just stick with that again, not attacking them or anything else like that. But if you identify as a woman and you're a man and you want to be with a man, then identify that up front when you build your profile. Okay,
And I think,
men who
and
are
I
like
think that's
me
fair.
when they build that.
I think that's fair. You know, I also think we're in muddy waters right now because obviously there are all these things that can be done, right? Like gender reassignment surgery and all of those things. So I think it's sometimes, it's a weird space that some people are in. If you're not in that space, then I think it is, you know, you should be honest because it's like, you don't want to get to the date and be like, by the way, just so you know, we have the same appendage. Like, I think that can be kind of an awkward conversation for people, just in general. Even if the other person is an open human and is open to that kind of thing, it's like, well, I would have appreciated if you would have at least mentioned that prior to this conversation. Like, I feel kind of, you know, like this kind of came out of nowhere for me. And I think that's fair. No. My thing is more so that I know for you, it's like, well, I don't understand why you would do that because you're thinking like a 40-year-old Marine. That's what you're thinking. Like, you're not thinking, but I mean, really, like, that's how you're thinking. You're not thinking like anybody else that's in, you know, their 20s and early 30s that are thinking about this. And they're just like, well, he's cute. Like, swipe right. It's more, to me, it's more like a compliment. Like, I think you're attractive and you're an attractive human. If you don't like me, that's fine. But like, I think you're attractive. Right. Done.
But the whole premise of the app isn't to say I'm attractive. The whole premise
it
of the
is.
app.
I'm sorry. I forgot you're late in the game here. That's exactly what the fuck it is. Because no one goes window shopping for shit they're going to buy.
Well, then why are you on there? If you're
why
not
do you go window shopping?
You're not serious. Well, if you're not out there, I'm going to go shopping for a pair of shoes. All right. Of course, the first way I'm going to start out is I'm going to walk through 4 or 5 different stores and look at a pair of shoes that I want because I want to make sure that the style's the right way, the color's the right way, the laces are put in the right way, and the price matters, okay? I'm going to go through all these stores, but I'm going to make a decision and purchase. I'm not just going to sit there and window shop for the next 6 months sitting on this app and never do anything. I'm just going to swipe right and never talk to anybody.
Okay, so here's my question.
That's not what the premise of the app is there for.
So here's my question then. If you wanted to get an authentic North Face, would you go to the thrift store or would you go to the North Face store?
Me, I'd go to the North Face store.
Okay, so then don't complain about something that you're not really paying that much for. Go to Match, go to eHarmony, go to a place where they are catered to people who are doing that. Tinder was not catered to doing those things, and neither was Bumble. You're going on an app that you know for the most part, and I'm sorry, you're not that stupid. I won't give you that. I won't give you that way. But you know what those are catered towards. They are catered towards people who are more interested in hooking up than they are dating. It's just how it is. And I know that you know these things. You're not an idiot. Like,
no,
sorry, I won't give you
I'm
that much. I won't give you that much leeway here. But then it's like
I've got teenage sons. And trust me, they've made that very much known to me.
Exactly. Like so then if you're interested in something serious, then it's go to Match, go to eHarmony, go to Farmers Frickin' Only, okay? Like, there are sites that are catered to people who are looking for long-lasting relationships. Going on Tinder and expecting to get a wife off of Tinder doesn't happen very often. It does happen, obviously. There are situations where people meet and they really like each other and it goes really well. And then there are situations where people go on dates, and I've had friends who are on Tinder forever, since it started. And they've gone on dates over and over and over again, and they never actually accumulated to anything. So it's like, yes, sometimes you meet a great person. Most of the time you're not going to, because most of the time people are going on there for one reason.
Okay, and trust me, I realize that. I can read it. Okay, I read the bios. I'm one of the very few people. I will read your bio. I will find out who you are. I want to make sure that I'm swiping right on a real person and not a cam girl. Okay, and you trust me, you could tell by the way they write up these bios if it's a legitimate profile. So trust me, I've read through them. And am I swiping right on, I want to hook up, I just want a friend, I don't know what I want? No, I'm not doing that. I'm swiping on individuals who are saying, hey, I'm not here for that. I'm here for this. I really want to get to know somebody. Let's talk. Hey, fine, I'm game. Let's do that.
Again,
but then you
don't go to a thrift store for a North Face jacket if you want the authentic thing. Sorry, I'm sticking to that because I think it's true. I think that like I said, there are times when people find something, and sometimes I don't think people are even looking for that, because I honestly don't think that's what Mike and I were necessarily looking for when we started seeing each other.
I don't even want to know you're still the 11-year-old girl running around.
No, I mean, we didn't do that. Like, nothing like that. Like, we went out on dates and everything, but I don't think we were looking for anything serious. Like, we didn't come into it looking for something serious. Does that make sense? We weren't in it like, this is going to be a relationship that lasts forever. You know, we were just, I was freshly out of a relationship, and I was trying to see what I wanted, and so I didn't want to get into anything serious, and that just happened. And it happened like that kismet. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing forced about it. I would never have gone there looking for a serious relationship necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily have gone in that mindset. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it definitely makes sense because I think you were really aware and hypersensitive to it because, like you said, you've known a lot of people that used it. Again, I'm 40 years old. I've known people who've used it. I've known people who have used it to just hook up, okay, but never paid attention nor focused on it because I never had to worry about that stuff, you know? Like I said, my whole world was meeting somebody face to face. Well, when you're 40, you have kids and all your friends are married, you just can't go sit at a coffee shop by yourself and twiddle your thumb. People will think you're the weird guy.
Right, and it's, it's always hard when you go out. I think a friend of mine is single, and she was like, I just have no one to go out with. I'm like, I'll go out with you. I don't care. You know, I was like, nobody, it's one of those things where, for the most part, if you go with a group of women, you're okay. Like, if one of them says they're not interested, they just go to the one who is. Like, it's pretty, you know, they're flexible. Men are flexible beings. As for men, it's like...
Very much so.
Yeah, but the thing is, to go out with my male friends, they won't get the same amount of attention because they already have a female with them. They'll get attention, but it'll be from afar. It won't necessarily be where someone will come up to them.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of the difference. It's like, you know, if you're like, I want to go to a bar, I'm like, I'll go with you. But it's like, you're not going to have the same experience as if you went out with a bunch of guys, most likely, unless I like walk into the bar saying, this is my cousin.
Yeah,
I am related to him. Have at it, ladies.
Well, even with that, I mean, even like, so if I were to go out with my friends who say, yeah, we'll go out with you, it's still not going out because here's the problem. They're getting texts from their wives consistently. They're looking at them and going out with a single man now. It's not like they're going out with a bunch of married guys who are just going to go hang out, shoot some pool, whatever it may be. You know, you're going out now with a single man who is out there telling the world he's single and he wants women around him. I don't want my husband near that. So it causes problems and conflict there. For a guy, that's where it comes with women. Women is a whole different animal. You know, you ladies can do that. One can be single and the rest can be married, but it still won't cause any conflict in the household.
Well, because it doesn't matter, because we could all be married and men will still come up to you. And I think men just know that already. It's something that they assume and expect.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes down to going out with people or doing something, I really can't. And if I do, we're back home by 10. Okay, because, you know, I got to go get the kids to bed. I got to take them to No, because it's called
because you go to bed at like 9:30. Like, just let's not lie to our lady listeners here. He goes to bed at 9:30. He's up at asshole cracked on. Like, it's not a life you want to live.
You know, that is only during the work week.
Oh, it's
ladies,
too much.
Okay,
because
you know, responsibilities do take over. Weekends, I have no problem sitting up and staying up till midnight, 1 a.m.
He's such a liar. Don't listen to him. 11 at his best. 11 at his best.
Done it. Because if I haven't done it, does not mean I wouldn't do it. Okay, I'm open to it. You know, it's just, again, you know, they have to get back in time. They have to get back by a certain time because, you know, they've got all the responsibilities and stuff, you know, where every other week I don't have any of those responsibilities to where I've got to get up early and, you know, make sure they get to a wrestling practice or something like that. So it really puts a damper on it. So when it comes to me, it's like, this is really my only option at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go out with you whenever you want and just sell you off to random women at the bar. Maybe I'll get a couple bucks out of it or a couple drinks. That'd be kind of nice.
Well, you know what? You and alcohol, you know, I don't know. I won't pay to get myself drunk. Why am I going to pay to get you drunk?
I'm not worried about you paying. I'm saying I'll sell you to the women, and they can buy me a few drinks. As my
you know what? I'll just tell them what you like and give it to you and pretend I'm drinking it.
Perfect. I love that idea, too. I'm not
Definitely working
picky.
Free alcohol, that's all that matters, right?
Free alcohol, $20, whatever works.
Ah, there you go. You know, the funny part is I don't think I've ever seen you take a drink of alcohol.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't drink a ton.
Or the family gathering?
I don't drink a ton.
I don't think I've ever seen you even grab a beer or anything.
Well, okay, so here's the deal, right? Like, our family has very little, like, boundaries in life. And I don't drink when I drive.
Uh-huh.
So there are occasions where I'll have a drink when I get there, but then I won't drink the rest of the time because I'm driving home.
Makes sense.
So I'm a responsible person. That's why everyone gets confused. They're like, you don't even drink. I'm like, no, I drink when I know I have a ride, or if I'm at home and like I'm having a glass of wine with dinner. Like I drink then. I just don't like to drink if I don't know how I'm driving somewhere or how I'm getting from one place to the other.
Well, that's what they got Uber and Lyft for.
I mean, I live in the suburbs, right? So I'm not paying $45 to go home.
Well, it depends on the day and the hour and everything else like that. And you know your dad will pay for it.
Oh, I mean, like, first of all, Dad's just like,
or you
sleep at the house.
Or
no,
you
Dad just wants me to spend the night at the house. Or you can let your mom drive you home.
Oh, you can let your mom drive you home, and she can lecture you the whole way.
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, Dad did pick me up when I was really drunk one time. I was in college, and it was a horrifying experience. I was so hammered. It was terrible, and I had to throw up, and it was awful. And I opened the car door, and I, like, apologized to him as I was throwing up. And he was like, are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
You good? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, great.
He's had enough practice. He's had enough practice with it, so don't worry. I mean,
well, that's the thing. He's like, you're mild. It's fine.
What's that?
He's like, you're mild. It's fine. I'm like, and ever since then, I won't like I said, I will have a drink. I won't ever have enough to get drunk or tipsy when I'm driving home. I just feel it's so irresponsible because it's not just my life; it's other people's lives.
Oh, of course, and that's the way it should be, and that's the way people should think about that. You know, that way, you know, safety first, and you're protecting everybody. It's just we were sitting here talking about going out to the bar and getting you a couple of drinks, and I'm like, do you even really drink, or do you just talk about it? Because
No,
I've never seen an alcohol beverage in your hand.
I know. It's funny because, like, we have friends out here, and we'll go out once in a while, you know, but I'm like, I usually end up having to drive. So when I lived in the city, it was easier because I would just take an Uber everywhere.
Yep.
But now, and like, or Katie, my best friend Katie would just drive me. She would pick me up or whatever. We'd switch
Katie,
off.
I remember Katie.
Yes. So I like would pick her up sometimes. She would pick me up sometimes because we lived, you know, right down the street from each other. So we've been best friends for 20 some years. So it's, you know, it's in the unwritten best friend handbook that you have to pick the other up when they're hammered.
Oh, yeah, definitely is. Especially when you've known them for over 10 years, you know. That's the limit. Once you get to that point, you're done. All things are out the window. All things stop.
I mean, I could get drunk like 2 blocks away from my house, and she would pick me up from the city, would come into the suburbs to pick me up to drop me off. Like 100%. We've literally been friends. I'm going to be 30, so we've been friends for 22 years this summer.
Oh, I remember. Trust me. I watched you two grow up together. You irritate the heck out of us at plenty of times.
Plenty of times. Her sister is getting married, actually.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, I need to have a conversation with them first.
No. Her older sister's getting married. Yeah, it's crazy because we're all just like, you know, we've all known each other and you guys have seen us all grow up. It's so crazy sometimes when I'm talking about this stuff. I'm like, are we really old enough to get married, guys? Like, are we sure? Like, are we old enough to get married and have kids? Like, is that a thing?
It seems like it just seems like yesterday we were, playing Barbies or something.
I just don't feel like an adult.
We are getting married.
Like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't think I'm an adult yet, guys. I think that I've pretty much skated by this and nobody's noticed. But, like, I'm not really that responsible.
Well, they say age is nothing but a mind, something in our mind, So if you feel, and welcome to our new world. Hey, I identify as a 5-year-old, so let's be it.
Oh, Jesus. I can't with you. This is why we don't have these conversations, because I'm not going to let you back on the air now.
No, you're going to have to, because I'm right. Because, what was it? I was watching something on Facebook or something the other day, and it was a girl who literally identified as a cat, and she's walking through the mall hissing at people with CNI dogs because of the dog. And I'm like, really? What? This is a thing? I'm quoting my son.
I don't know. You know what? It doesn't affect me. I don't care. So it's not my life. That's how I live most of my life. It's not my life. I don't care. You're allowed to live your life as bizarrely as you would like to. You get one of them, and you're on here for a very short amount of time.
Yes, do it, enjoy it, love it, but I'm going to look at it and be dumbfounded, and if tomorrow I want to identify as a 5-year-old, you better not judge me.
Oh, I've been judging you for far too long to change now.
Nope. I've seen people change. I mean, look at Bruce Jenner, you know, he was a man all the way up until his 70s, and now he's a woman. So
I don't think it was his 70s.
I don't think we're ever too old to change.
I think he was younger than
How old
that.
is he? I don't even know. How old is she? I don't want to insult Caitlyn now.
60s, I think? I want to say 60s. I want to say 60s.
Yeah.
But I also think that she had plastic surgery prior to actually becoming a woman, before gender reassignment surgery. I think she had plastic surgery, so I wasn't 100% sure, like how old just in general.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. I think they all have. I mean, you're married to a Kardashian, so you definitely have had plastic surgery. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay, that's one of my favorite things in the world.
Caitlyn,
I know we're tangenting. Yeah.
Caitlyn is 69, but the surgery was several years ago.
67, 65, 6, something along that time. It was only about 2 or 3 years ago.
2015, 4 years ago.
Yep. Okay. So 65.
Okay. So 65. I figured that's about how old.
Yeah. So being 40, if I want to identify as 5, I'm not past that window. I'm good.
I can't with you. I'm done with you today. Anyways, thank you for joining us on another episode of Typing When Tipsy. Ramon, it is always a sort of pleasure.
It is. I appreciate you guys having me again. Can't wait for another 2 weeks and us to come up with something else to talk about.
I know, and we're going to try and cut it off today at that hour mark because we made Mike listen to an hour and a half of us last time. And I'm sure it was an hour and a half after he cut things.
Well, he enjoyed every last minute of it, so don't let him lie to you.
I like to think so anyways. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Typing When Tipsy. I hope you enjoy it. We look forward to talking to you guys in a few weeks. Say good night.
Good night, everybody, and thank you for having me again, and let's enjoy life.
Yes, good night, everyone.
Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airways crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the operator to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.